Before I get into this video, I just want to mention that I'm sorry for not uploading recently. Over this last week, I have had the least consistent upload schedule I have ever had on YouTube since I first started my channel. Generally, I try to keep a pretty consistent daily upload schedule. However, sometimes I fail to do that. I'm taking a lot of steps to get to a situation where I can actually upload more consistently, but recently my ISP hasn't been really friendly. My internet was going out all the time over the past week, and I hadn't had time to record or upload videos because of it. Every 30 minutes or so, my internet would go down and therefore stop an upload. It was pretty impossible to do anything. That being said, I could have worked a lot harder at it, stayed up to later hours, hoping that the internet was more stable. I could have done things better, and I intend to do that moving forward. Let's talk about Injustice 2 traits. This is a topic I've been asked to talk about a couple different times whenever I do my types of list videos, like recently I did the 10 future premiere skins thing, or the 5 stages video. I'll get comments like, hey, why don't you do a video about traits? I figured, why not? Let's do it. So this list is in order of my favorite traits in the game, so the one at the very end will be my favorite trait in Injustice 2. So, starting off with Green Arrow. Green Arrow's trait is interesting because of the flexibility inherent to the trait. It's also a good demonstration of Green Arrow's character. Trick arrows like crazy. We've got ice arrows, fire arrows, electricity arrows, and most importantly, of course, the boxing glove arrow. I don't really have much else to say about this trait. I just like it thematically. I like it from a gameplay perspective. I think it's a really cool trait. Next up is Firestorm. Firestorm's trait got me so excited when I first saw it. Ever since he's been revealed, I always loved the trait. What I like about this trait is the idea. It's resource management. I love resource management. Similar to the super meter that you have to control throughout the game, you now have another meter that you have to pay attention to, which is your trait meter. Tier 3 is super fun to use. Even your back 2 becomes a launcher. Everything about his kit gets so much stronger depending on which tier you're at, and I just think that thematically is very cool. There's also a pretty nice Deathstorm shout out at tier 3. Firestorm's trait constantly has me going back to the character, even though I don't necessarily enjoy the rest of his gameplay, but that trait is just so cool. Next up is Cyborg. Cyborg's trait in Injustice 1 was, well, boring. It wasn't impactful, it was underwhelming. His new trait, however, actually got me very excited to play Cyborg. That being said, the character still isn't a lot of fun for me personally. But his trait is definitely 100% a massive improvement from the first game. Incorporating mother boxes and everything, it's a cool trait. I'm a big fan of it. Next up is the Flash. Barry Allen is one of my favorite DC characters, and his trait is the exact trait that I would have given him. It perpetuates this idea that if his trait is up, his combos become so much more terrifying. It's just a perfect design. It creates for this environment where if his trait is active, you just don't want to be near him. You don't want to be touched by him at all, or else he's just going to melt your entire health bar, which is just perfect design for a speedster. My next pick is Darkseid. Incorporating parademons into Darkseid's trait was a fantastic idea. You can do some pretty cool stuff with them. You've got different types of parademons, which I personally like. Darkseid's design in general is something that I really like. I think it was really well done. Definitely a character I would like to put some more time into, because again, he's just a ton of fun to play, and the trait is a big part of that. Supergirl. This is another trait that I love because of resource management. The fact that her zoning options are limited inherently because of the resource management built into the trait, in my opinion, is a step in the right direction for fighting game. I want to see more one-button abilities with cooldowns or resource management systems like this one. If you haven't seen my video titled The Many Problems with Fighting Games, I would recommend checking it out to get more of my thoughts on this type of system. I'll link it at the top of the description if you haven't seen it. Atrocitus. Dexter is such an awesome character. Incorporating Dexter into the game through Atrocitus trait is perfect. If you don't know Dexter's origin story, I heavily encourage you to go look at it, whether it's through a YouTube video or just reading about it. It's incredibly cute and a little bit sad. Obviously, Dexter was never going to make his own character slot, so incorporating him into the game through Atrocitus is the perfect way of doing it. I'm certainly glad that Dexter got some amount of attention through Injustice 2. Pretty sure Atrocitus won't return in Injustice 3, so I'm super glad that he is getting a chance this time around, and having Dexter show up in his kit was just a brilliant idea. Black Canary. Black Canary was my main character in the Injustice 2 beta, and the main reason for that was her trait. I loved it. The idea of getting a full combo from full screen out of your trait just because your opponent jumped was always crazy to me. That being said, people quickly learned how to play around it, so personally I've dropped the character for my personal online play, but she's still a ton of fun to play, and the trait is a big part of the reason for that. I really love Black Canary's gameplay and her design, and the trait is no exception. Bane. Whilst Bane is not a character that I play a lot of. He is probably my favorite grappler in the game, but that playstyle never really connected with me. But from a thematic perspective, this trait is perfect for Bane. Without the venom or toxin that Bane uses, Bane would probably just be a slightly above average fighter, but with that venom, he is terrifying, and that comes across perfectly in the gameplay. You want to be careful while he's got his venom trait up, and while it's down, he's pretty much useless. Alright, that's not quite true, but it's almost true. Next up is my absolute favorite trait in Injustice 2, and that is Captain Cold, by far. This goes back to the resource management I was talking about. I love the design behind Captain Cold having to go out of his way to build up his gun to the level required in the given situation, whether it's throwing out his grenade, the instant freeze, even the armor. Thematically, I love it. From a gameplay perspective, I love it as well. If I was in the design chair and I had to come up with Captain Cold's trait, I probably wouldn't change anything about this one. That being said, I would change some things about Captain Cold's kit in order to make him a little bit more of a strong character. Right now, I think he's fairly underwhelming, but again, the design behind that trait I think is perfect. That's about it and my opinions on the traits in Injustice 2. If you think I was wrong about anything in this video, or you have a personal favorite trait, let me know in the comment section. Honestly, guys, the amount of support I've been getting from you guys recently has been kind of crazy, even though I haven't uploaded in 4 days. I'm genuinely working really hard to produce better content, more content, and at a more frequent rate. Literally every day I wake up and the first thing I do is I go check my comment sections, I reply to as many comments as I can. Obviously I can't reply to everybody, but the fact that we're here almost at 5,000 subscribers, at the time of me recording this, I'm at 4,900 and almost 90, which means this video will probably bump me to 5,000. I really can't say enough. It's been an amazing ride. We've had this channel for less than 4 months, which means we're averaging more than 1,000 subscribers a month, which is insane. I don't know how to thank you guys enough. I wish I could do some type of crazy thing for 5,000 subscribers, but I honestly don't know what to do. If you guys have any suggestions, I'd be glad to hear them. But until then, I guess all I can say is thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys are enabling me to do so many different things that I never thought would be possible. Again, my name is Bilbsy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.
Holy mackerel.